Hey guys, Josh here, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the beginner's guide to taking acid. Now I'm someone who's taken every level of acid you can think of. I've taken 1 tab, 2 tabs, 3 tabs, all the way up till 10 tabs. I've experienced the worst of the worst on acid, and I've experienced the best of the best. So I'd say I'm a pretty good expert when it comes to taking acid. So today we're going to be just talking about all the things you should know before you take it, if you want to have like an amazing time, if you don't want to accidentally have a bad trip, if you don't want to ego death, because let me tell you, if you ego death your first time, you're never going to use acid again, because you're just going to be scarred by it, because if you're not prepared for something like that, it's going to go a bit crazy. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is set and setting. Now this is something a lot of people talk about when it comes to taking psychedelics, and for good reason. It is heavily important that you know your surroundings and you know the people you're with. So if you're with a new friend who you've just started talking to because you both take acid and you want to do it together, don't do it with him. You're going to feel uncomfortable, you're going to feel strange, and you're going to be worried about the sort of stuff he's going to do to you. You're going to be paranoid that he's going to rob you or something. You know, your brain goes to weird places when you're on acid, so don't go around people that you're going to be paranoid around, you know what I mean? It's got to be someone that you've known for several years, someone you know you can trust, and someone who's also taken acid before. That's an important thing, I'd say. If you're taking acid for the first time with someone, you got to make sure they've taken acid before, because I've taken acid with people that have never taken acid before, and it's made me paranoid that they're going to have like the worst time ever, and the whole time I'm just thinking about their trip. I'm not focusing on mine, and it kind of ruins the trip. So yeah, make sure it's someone you know, someone who's taken acid before, and someone you're comfortable with. And setting, meaning where you are, is very, very important. You're in somewhere you know, somewhere you feel comfortable around. It's the same really as your friends, somewhere that you've been several times for several years and you know exactly what it is. Because if you're around somewhere you don't know, when you get on the high stuff and you're like high tripping, and you look around and you don't know where the fuck you are, your brain's going to be even more confused, and it's going to send you into even more of a spiral, bro. I've had it before where I've been somewhere I didn't know, I've taken too much and I've looked around, I don't know where I am, and it has just confused my brain a million times more than it would have anyway. So just always, when you're taking acid, just know exactly where you are, what you're doing, know your surroundings, otherwise your brain's going to get 10 times more confused, and it's going to lead to a lot of dangerous situations. So, another thing that's really important to talk about is dosage. Now, there's a lot of like different opinions about the sort of starter dosage you should take. A lot of people say 100, some people say 150, some people say 25, you know, it's a lot. Me personally, I'd say a good dosage is half a normal tab, so about 50 UG. Because I've taken 100 UG before as like a first time trip, and for me, you know, it can still get a little, you can still get a little in your head at that level, and the visuals can still be a bit like worry and swirly and all that, and it can overwhelm you at times. Whereas when I'm taking something like half a tab, it's like the visuals are calmer, you're less in your head, you got more of like, you know, you're more calm, you're less anxiety, you're less paranoid, because you can really get paranoid on acid. Like, it's something that a lot of people don't really talk about, but the paranoia you feel on acid can reach high levels, bro. Like, I'm talking, if you're taking a high dosage, bro, you're gonna be paranoid beyond belief out your mind. Like, bro, I had a friend, my friend Corey, bro, on that video, the ego death, bro, when he was coming down on acid, he thought the fucking paramedics were trying to fucking save his body or whatever. Like, it was fucked, bro. So like, yeah, you can get hella paranoid on acid, so you really gotta be careful. So yeah, that's why I recommend a low dosage, because the lower the dosage, the more you're like, you know, the more you're like less like, I don't really know how to describe it, but like you're more conscious of your actions the lower the dosage, so you're less paranoid because you're not tripping as hard. So it's really important that you get the right sort of dosage. Now, something I will say a lot, yeah, is something that I'll say to anyone who tries acid for the first time, is sort of, it's good to plan your night, I'd say. Sort of find something that you want to do during the come up, find something you want to do during the peak, and find something you want to do during the come down. And I'd also recommend on that note as well, saying that about dosage, because I just realised something I forgot about dosage, weed. Weed is an important thing about dosage, because when you take 50 UG, it's going to feel like 50 UG, but if you take 50 UG and smoke a doobie, you might be reaching the 100 UG level again, because unlike when you're sober and weed calms you down, when you're on acid, weed just boosts the trip, and it boosts it tremendously. You'd be very surprised at how much stronger and how much longer lasting your trip can be if you just puff on a doobie, bro. If you're in the come down, you puff a doobie, you're back to the peak. Like, that's how much it can change the actual acid trip itself. So yeah, I'd strongly recommend for a first timer, don't smoke weed. You got to be more comfortable with the acid before you start puffing on the ganja, because bro, I'm telling you, one puff of that shit and you feel like you're in fucking Candyland again. But anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? I've completely forgot what I was saying. Sorry guys, I'm high as fuck. I just had to go back in the recording to remember what I was talking about. But yeah, like I said, planning stuff. Before you do acid, I say a really good thing to do is plan what you're going to do during the come down, during the come up, during the peak, like I said. Because I find that when I've got like a sort of set plan for a trip, I sort of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm being more productive. I don't know, it's weird to describe it, but like you're like, oh, I've planned this night out, I'm doing it exactly how I wanted, and then when it actually works out perfectly, and you're sat watching fucking 4 hours of VictoriaSlap.com behind the scenes footage, fucking tripping out your head, going, what the hell is going on? You realise you've just planned your trip perfectly, and you're watching the fucking stupidest shit of your life. So yeah, I always say have a decent plan for when you're taking acid, because it does make the trip more enjoyable, and like you can look up stuff like movies that are good to watch while tripping. Like I said before, Spy Kids 3, big shout for that one, beautiful movie, it's so ridiculously goofy. But yeah, just look up the sort of stuff you want to watch. But I just say, when you're tripping, if you find yourself getting a bit too intense, one, if you've got some benzos like Xanax, take that and it'll immediately stop the trip. It's a trip killer right there. Perfect if you're having really too intense of a time. But if you haven't got anything like that, and the trip's getting a little too intense, what I tend to do is sort of an exercise with myself, is where I'll sit there and I'll say, look Josh, if you're sober, you ain't seeing none of this. This is all a byproduct of the acid, none of this is real. I mean, you're tripping over nothing at this point. Just have a good time, let the shit take you over, and just, you know, just remember who you are and what you're doing. And it's that simple. You just gotta say, like, I usually sit there and say, I'm Josh Ranger, I'm sat in my bedroom, I took acid, that's all that's going on, and that will calm me down. And if you still find you're having too intense of a time, well, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You just gotta hold on tight, and you just gotta let it take you, bro, because if you don't let it take you, you're gonna have a bad time, and you're gonna scar yourself permanently, and that's just all it is, bro. I mean, not scar yourself permanently, that sounds a bit drastic, but like, you're gonna scar your experience of what acid is really like, because if you only experience the worst of the worst on acid, and you never experience the best of the best, then your impression of it is always gonna be that it's a dangerous and scary drug, when in reality, when you take low dosages, it's an incredible drug that makes you feel great, makes you reflect on yourself, makes everything more funny, more colourful, more vibrant. But as per YouTube guidelines, I don't recommend you take acid. It is still a drug, it is still illegal after all, and it is still dangerous, so I do not recommend you take it. But yeah, if you're ever going to take acid, just make sure you plan your night, you make sure you don't get in your head, don't start tripping out, don't have a bad trip, and don't take too much of it, because if you take too much, you're going to have a bad time. And know where you are and who you're with. That's simple. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. We just hit 300 subscribers. I think we're on like 334 now. The growth that I'm having at the moment is tremendous, and I really appreciate that, but we're not going to stop, baby, so make sure you subscribe. In a bit, guys.